How's everyone doing today? It is Andrew here from IDB with a new app called Fab. Fab is a new app that allows you to essentially mimic the iPhone 7 Plus's portrait mode. So as kind of a refresher for those of you who are not aware, iPhone 7 Plus has those two cameras which has a special new mode inside of iOS 10.1 called portrait mode. This replicates the depth of field effect that you would get from a high-end camera in a really wide aperture, making the kind of the focus of it, like the portrait person, in focus with the background all nice and blurred out. Now it does this really automatically and it looks really great, and Fab also tries to do it. So I could either take a photo or import one of my existing photos. It'll automatically identify a face, and then it'll go ahead and try to find the body. It'll go ahead and keep that in focus while attempting to blur out the background, all automatically for you. You can then just take your photo, you can save it to your camera roll, share it through email, message, Slack, AirDrop, whatever you want, and you're good. Now in testing, I did have a few issues. It does work best when the background is a little bit separated, and I happen to have kind of a person here to the side of my head. I also had gray on with some grayish tan rock behind me, so on the lower sides of my arms here and by my head, those did not really get picked up by the automatic algorithm inside of Fab itself, but there is an edit mode, so I can come here and I can use this little brush to either paint in more areas, so anything in green. I can adjust the brush size on top, or I can switch to the eraser and remove some areas. So for some reason it thinks that this person next to my head is part of my face, so I can go ahead and remove that very carefully, and I am using a brush that's quite a bit larger than it really needs to be. And the interface of this is a little bit weird. It's nice that they kind of offset where your finger goes, but it makes it kind of a little bit cumbersome to use, especially the first time or when you're trying to get low on the photo, because it kind of, your thumb can't go too much lower. But if you are, once you get used to it, it is easy enough to actually go ahead and do this. And there are many other apps in the App Store that will manually add this depth of field effect. The point of Fab is that it's supposed to be completely automatic. You just take a photo and then it applies it for you, but they do give you the ability to go back in there and edit it. So you can see the differences here between before I edit it, then after I edited it. So we want to see those full screen. Here's my original photo that just did it automatically with their algorithm. Then I retouched it. And this one, for comparison's sake, is with the actual depth of field effect, the portrait mode on the iPhone 7 Plus. It definitely looks best using Apple's native option, but this is a good kind of second tier option if you'd like it. There are still additional settings where you can change things like the blur amount, so that is more granular that you have in Apple's first party option. Just kind of one option here, but I bumped up the blur effect, it's even more blurry, and I can change the bokeh shape, which is kind of what the lights will look like, which is normally determined by your aperture, but in this case we can change it through the software. So anything that's a really light you see on the far left side there, they'll be shaped more like stars instead of the hexagons. If you'd like to pick up this app and try it for yourself, you'll find a link below in the description. You can pick it up for relatively cheap at $1.99. Let us know what you think of this app, or if you find better ones, down in the comments below. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, subscribe. Until next time, it's Andrew for IDB.